Yeah, my name is Jay Patel. I was born in New York.
So, how was life for you before knowing Christ?
So growing up, life was very much religious. It was being in a Hindu household. Everything had to do with the way you performed. Everything's performance based. Um, Rituals. Everything was based off a certain rule, and you had to achieve a goal out of your own efforts. And that was, as I grew older, I realized is not achievable in your own strength. And that was the hardest thing for me to swallow.
How did you got to know?
I got to know him when I was 18 years old. Uh, so it was later on in life through who is my wife now. But before we were conversing, we were friends, and she introduced me to who was our pastor a long time. And through conversations, and I got to know who Jesus truly was through that, and understood who he was. He understood human error and human fall. And so out of that understanding and his grace attracted me to who he was. And I wanted to know him more because of that. And his forgiveness is what uh, attracted me, because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. I knew I didn't have a capability. And so he really showed me that to trust in him, to follow him, and to submit all to him. Before knowing him, it was very difficult. I was struggling with myself. I was struggling with who I was. I was struggling with the incapability to being what good is. And honestly, Hinduism didn't provide a message of what's good. They had rules, and everything was family based, but there was not a standard or a rule that I could easily comprehend. When I came to Christ, I really understood the nature of humanity, and that was we're all fallen. We are so short. There's a lot of burden that you can remove off of your shoulders that I didn't understand before I carried that burden, and I knew that I wouldn't be. It's not sustainable. I think my life is a constant uncertainty, and so I'm always relying on the Lord to show me. It's just the way I was raised and grew up thinking, and that thought process is constant change. Every single day I have to look myself in the mirror and see that I am flawed. And so the Lord is always showing me a way where that is, and he's giving me the grace to change myself. And so I think there have been massive ways. One of the ways is through children. God did show me through children of I'm carrying a lot of baggage from my past. And I'm still to this day trying to perform the way that I grew up in my childhood, and to change the way I parent and to change the way I father my boys. So I think that's one way God is always working on me daily. To tackle the uncertainty of life, I think I have an unorthodox approach to most, and honestly, it's more kind of conversations with the Lord. And I find my quiet time. I find my quiet time in driving. Usually, when I'm by myself going to work, I have 30 minutes there and 30 minutes back. And so, in that time, I can either listen to a message, or honestly, the easiest and the best way is pray and to concentrate is to have a conversation with the Lord. I think that's the biggest way is, and I know that He's listening. And so, and I hear responses from Him. And if I have a question, if I'm struggling with something, He's always faithful in that way to respond to me. I think if you think about the world that we live in, the life that we live in, and if you have any questions about what's going to happen afterwards, or if you have questions about why humanity is the way that it is, I think you have to start seeking first. And once you start seeking, you'll understand where Christ is coming from. Do not rely on the cultural Christianity. Do not rely on what you've been told, but search it for yourself and talk to Him for yourself. I think that's my biggest advice, because I had a presumption of what Christianity was before I was Christian, and I based that off of what I've witnessed other Christians, but Christians are flawed. And so do not rely on what others have told you, but rely on Scripture, read for yourself who Jesus is, and learn for yourself, and then ultimately talk to Him.
What does LifeStream Church mean to you?
So LifeStream's church is a spot of hope, I think. Being an Indian and coming from an Indian background, it's very encouraging to see believers, Indian believers, gathering and worshiping the same Lord that I do. And even in the country of India, or even here in the United States, most Indians are not Christians. And so to be able to come in, eat the same food, dress similar, have similar upbringings, even if they grew up Christians, it's there's a relational aspect, and so having that relational aspect, it's definitely encouraging.
If there is one word you want to describe Livestream Church, what would you use?
Joy.